Good morning. Long
Hey,
time
sir.
no see.
Yeah, man, you've been busy traveling. We've been busy with cohorts as well. We just got back from our DC cohort, right?
The
Last
one at
week.
Booze?
Yeah, it was really, really great event, right? We had a great group, great venue, the Helix building, right?
Yeah,
Booz
that was
Allen Center
cool.
for Innovation up there. Yeah, really cool location. Dude, that's just like a couple of blocks from the White House. Like you are right downtown. You're right there.
Gotta
So
have him. Hey, next thing you know, you go to a Blue Water event there at the DC stop in Booz Allen. Next thing you know, you're walking in the White House.
oh man,
Who knows?
right? It's
Who knows what can happen when
yeah,
you use your services? But
true
no,
perspective.
cool. Well, I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that went well. That was I was cool to join the site visit there. Did they play with the AI tools? I know they had
You
that
know,
AI room.
we did. We got a midday. The staff there was kind enough to kind of take 30 minutes out of the middle of the day, and they kind of walked us around and some of the demos and some of the things that that Booz is plugged in with, and AI, some AI discussions, really interesting stuff going on, not only in the company but I think in industry in general. That'll probably be
Yeah.
part of our conversation this morning, right?
I
As
was
we
about to say the same thing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at a chart I want to bring up because I just heard something on a podcast yesterday about where things are going with AI
Yeah.
anyways, it's all very interesting. But well, cool. Yeah, for those joining us, this is the Military Retirement Blueprint podcast. This is also really a chance for Mike and I to stay in touch and kind of talk about various topics that come up for our members and clients that we're speaking with on a day-to-day basis, and we're serving the military retiree audience, whether you're a few years out planning for it, you're right in the middle of it, or even if you've already gotten out, want to stay connected in the network, you've got insights to share. We think this is kind of that one-stop shop to get insights that come up every day. It's every day somebody new. It's their first day retiring from the military, so there's a lot of info to share, a lot of lessons
Isn't
learned,
that
and
true? Yeah.
yeah, and that's the cool thing about the Blue Water Network you've created, Mike, is all those insights. You talk about knowledge management. That was my last job in the Army. I was in the knowledge management division, and it was funny. I showed up to UCOM, and they just set the office up, and 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 they were like, what's knowledge management? And we were all like, we don't know either.
Yeah.
That's just our duties. We had to figure it out. But that's exactly what you've done. I came to learn about it and appreciate it. And that's exactly what you've done is, made whether it's through Blue Water Digital or just tapping into your network, having conversations. You've and of course hosting your cohorts. You've definitely set up a great resource and ongoing network for people that have benefited from it and can benefit from it. So
Well, you phrased it, very very correctly, and the way you talked about it was, our growing network, and we've mentioned this on a couple of occasions as well too. We feel like we're being overly repetitive, and I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I'll go, man, am I being too repetitive, too repetitive? But your point that you said, and you said it very quickly, and you probably didn't even realize you did, but we need to realize that as the pipeline is filled and people are coming to us, these individuals are coming across these learning points for their first time. Even though you and I have been immersed into this for years, right? It's still their first time. And so that continued learning, right, as you take a new group through the spectrum of their career progression, you know, um, and impart upon them, hey, it really is important to have a career progression design. It's really important to do your market analysis so you can assess, is what you're looking at really a best fit for you, and all of these things. And there are moments where we kind of lift our head up and go, man, I feel like I'm being overly repetitive, but we can't lose sight of the fact that it's these individuals' first time hearing it, right?
yeah,
And and they need to hear it, right? It's that required learning, right? They
right.
have,
specifically for when the uncertain and unknown is going on, right?
Exactly.
To stay, or if you can be a resource to others, it's always, helpful to, be still be spun up on, the basics. Um, right.
And that's a
So,
good segue, Scott, right? The unknown, the
right.
unpredictable. And that's kind of the theme, right? When I shot you these notes the other day on what I
Yeah,
think.
because I mean, that's the kind of whole point of transition out of the military,
Yeah,
the uncertainty and stress around, transition, the military transition process. I just don't like that phrasing. It makes it sound so negative. It should be more
yeah,
about opportunity, because that's what the unknown brings is, you know, potential uncertainty, but maybe there's opportunity. Maybe it gives you a chance to explore other options you just hadn't had a chance to get around to yet,
sure.
or in general, I think do you want to have a plan B? Because maybe that can backfire sometimes. Sometimes you want to back up against the river, right, or burn the boat, so to speak. So, but that's just not the way our economy and world's been working out in recent years. I think from your experience, I'll let you speak to that, but that's just what I've noticed. Whether it's just in technology, the internet, AI, these streaming platforms, ability to work from home, just people are doing stuff now that they've found to be like, wow, I never expected to be doing this, but I love it, right? And so yeah, what do you want to, kind of, obviously in the news is the government shutdown. Okay, we get that. Nothing we can do about that, but it probably sparks a lot of conversations. It's also more quietly, there's been some layoff reports recently this week that seem to be a big deal, and so I know that all those things make people concerned. So
Well, it's a little bit the perfect storm, I think, coming on
yeah,
right now, right? And if any one of these topics, whether we're talking about the government shutdown and the impact that it's having on transition, right, or career progression, whether or not we're talking about the time of year as we're getting ready to go into the holiday season. And typically, what do talent acquisition managers, recruiters, companies, right,
oh,
drawing that
I didn't even think about that.
if you're talking about now more than ever before, the impact that AI is having, right? And I want to have that discussion, right? That's very real, and that's leading to what we were just talking about before we kicked off the discussion this morning was a lot of these company layoffs, right? And so if you kind of just roll all of this in, any one of those topics, we could probably talk for hours on.
Right.
But if you just kind of roll it all in, and if you just wanted to say, what are we going to call this discussion? Well, this discussion is the importance of having a plan B. And we reinforce to our members, Scott, you probably remember, I know you've set through our message on a couple of occasions, but we tell our membership, this is the at will work environment. There are no guarantees in this new world.
Mhm.
Don't live in fear of it, right? Don't live in fear of it. But I also want you to recognize, hey, this is the situation report. This is SITREP Alpha, right? You are now in an at will work environment. What does that mean? That means you can come or go whenever you want. There's no requirement for a 2-week notice. For all states in the union, I still think Montana requires you to do that. But for everybody else, man, it's at will work environment, right? You come and go. But what's the other side of that? A company can keep you or let you go whenever they want.
Mhm.
No reason, no whatever. Hey, just having a bad day. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming. Right? It can happen that quick. But again, don't live in fear of it. But we want our members to understand this, right? And so we spend a lot of time telling members, like, you are going to target your next success. You're going to find that success. And inevitably, people land, they secure their next job. And what do you think the first thing they do? What do you think that is, right? That, they reach up here, they drop the pack, right? That's an 8.6 on the Richter scale, right? It dropped the pack, boom, it hits. and they stop networking. They stop
Mm-hmm.
looking. They stop having those conversations. They stop honing those skills to, hey, I'm going to express to you the value of me in your terms, right? That's a skill set, right? That most of our members, by the time they've landed, they've really honed that up, right? They're locked on, man. They understand the pursuit of their next success, right? Networking, the importance of it, how to do it effectively. But Scott, they stop. They just stop. And the language that I put out to members, I go, you think it was hard to build your network this time, right? From nothing? Well, try building it, letting go of it, and not touching it again for 2 years, and then go, oh my gosh, the government is shutting down. Nobody's hiring. AI took my job. I have no plan B. And now I'm going to step back into it. You think it was hard building it the first time, try building it the second time. Your network is people. And people are fragile, right? Those relationships. And if you are just a taker, if you are a
Mm-hmm.
taker in life and take and make no deposits, how responsive do you think those people are going to be to you? You with me? And I think our members, I think at the heart of the matter, they understand that and they get that. But if I'm honest with you, we see them atrophy in that and go right down this path more frequently than not. And so let me
Yeah.
just stop there, and I'm interested in your thoughts on that, right? I mean, people just they let go of it. I think at the heart of the matter, they know they shouldn't, but they do. And now we have many members that are being thrust back out. We have a lot of members right now, Scott, that are coming to us going, hey, the government's been shut down. The company's tightening their belt. Mike, I'm being let go. What do I do? And I go, hey, man, well, I'm sure you kept your network, right? Somewhat flippantly. Well, I'm sure you kept your network up to date. No, Mike, I haven't talked to anybody since I landed. Why did you do that?
Mm.
Listen, for members out there, the biggest takeaway of our discussion here today is you never, ever stop looking for your next success. Even when you have a success, you never, ever stop networking, right? You never do. You're always on the hunt. You have no community manager, placement, detailer, monitor, depending on, your flavor of service, whatever you called that personnel management person in your life, you don't have that anymore. 100% of the responsibility of all of that rests on your shoulders. Now, that's 100% you. So you never stop doing that, right? And we often forget that. Anyway, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's just, it's the new career or skill set that you've learned by going through the transition process. But, honestly, it's as valuable as owning a small business, like
Yeah,
knowing a lot of people to create income. That's what you're doing. You're doing it to find a job versus finding a client. It's the same process. So having that skill set, and realizing you can take that skill set to, literally anywhere and use it in the job as well as to get the job, of course. And so I
right.
think, framing it around that means, like, even if you don't have any problems, you stay in wouldn't networking well inside your company help? And then, part of these skill sets and the advantage of, modern times is you can network without always having to be in a face-to-face conversation. That's what being active on the LinkedIn's are, because they're busy too. Like, everybody's busy trying to move on, and that's all understandable. That's why Mike and I do this show. This is a way for us to talk with people in our network, and they always know they can kind of reach out when the time's right. That way we're not bugging them, but there's ways to stay in touch.
Right.
And I think the easiest way to stay connected is, just having that, hey, how can I help? But using it as a way to also kind of hone your skill sets. And then if you're helping other people that are coming behind you through their transition process,
Yeah.
then they're going to remember that as their networking. Now you've created a little subgroup around you. So those are some of the ways I think about it. That and going to conferences. I always want to say,
Sure.
go to a conference, because that's just like intensive networking. And you kind of get opportunities to just learn new stuff that you probably weren't expecting. So anyways, those are my thoughts.
No, I love it. Right. And again, you just spurred me to think about this. Like, we do leverage our networks hard when we are in pursuit of our next success.
Mhm.
But the moment that you land and you are in your next success, I would encourage members to think about it this way. In other words, you're always going to be engaged with your network from now until forevermore, right? Your network. Our counterparts who've never wore the cloth of the nation grew up in this world. They understand the value of their network. They don't let go of it. They plug into it. For us, stepping out of uniform, where our network was our identity, was the group that we kind of ran with, right? And rightfully so, right? That was our team, that was our tribe, right? That we went with. Now that we step out, we go, oh yeah, this networking thing, this is a little bit new, and I'll dabble in it. Well, you don't dabble in your network. This is your way of life. And the wonderful thing about Blue Water is we know you didn't have time to build your network. And we know that you're going to probably not pay it the due diligence and the attention that you need to. So we maintain that network on behalf of all our members. I'm happy to do that. But I still want to reinforce to members, right? It is important. Make withdrawals. But when you land, you get a job and you're on to pursuing your next pursuit. Those are the times to still stay plugged in with your network, but make deposits. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to reach out to somebody in my network. I'm going to do something for somebody in my network. I'm going to see a job opportunity. Yeah, I'm not overly interested to it, but I'm going to make my network aware of it because I know somebody in my network is going to be looking for it. I'm going to make those deposits. I'm going to make deposits, because when a rainy day comes around, like many of our members are experiencing right now, right? You need to leverage your network. You want to start making withdrawals. And if you've done nothing but make withdrawals, right? That's a tough way to go, right? Your network is people, right? So I know you've got that web page up, Scott, but it's the intelligence page.
I'm going to pull that up.
And this is very recent. And we've had a lot of members step into this. One of our corporate partners, Booz Allen, look, they're going through a very hard drawdown. I think they announced 2% reduction in a lot of their leadership. So that was 600 to 800 employees, something like that. Companies will start to drive members to take mandatory PTO, your paid time off. In other words, hey, you will take this time, right? Go. You will take it. Not an option. You will take it. So companies will go through actions as they're starting to tighten the belt a little bit. And, our government shutdown, inability of government to either pay for past work or to engage in building and companies to bid new work, right? I mean, government contracting companies, defense industry, that's the industry, right? And when the government shuts down, it has a real impact. And so Booz is just one example. But look, just on the webpage there, UPS, 48,000, Nestle, 16,000, Amazon, right? That was another one near and dear to my heart, right? I was there. Steve Weeman and I were there as well. Dave Wade, like we had a lot of guys in the Blue Water Network that spent time at Amazon, but look at that, 14,000. And that was 14,000 on the low side. I think the article that I read said somewhere between 14 and 30,000, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I saw a high number. Okay.
Yeah, it was higher than that. So what they actually zero in on now, that's an interesting discussion there, Scott. Is AI leading to those downs, right? Or, I mean,
yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were saying because actually the one chart, I mean, what they were talking about, they're kind of tying this all together. It's like,
Oh yeah,
if you look at the most valuable companies on, let's say, the S&P 500,
sure.
the vast majority of those
It is.
valuations are
Yeah,
just in a few of these companies,
yeah,
and they're all tech companies, and they're all leaning very heavily into this AI marketplace.
yep,
Um, Especially Nvidia, they're the ones doing the infrastructure, the
yeah,
chips and stuff, um, and but if you listen to some of the AI expert people paying attention, like, yeah, there's a lot of cool whiz bangy stuff you can do, but is it like other than Nvidia, they're most of these companies aren't making money from the AI. So if you can't make money from the AI, like, is it helpful? Well, I mean, it's just the way, is there a job to be had for somebody that's going to work with it?
yeah,
So um it's not that AI is, replacing people. This was kind of the theory. It's that the most effective people who can use the AI to make them more efficient, they're going to their skill sets are going to look better. They're going to be able to use it to that advantage. But maybe
mm,
factory workers moving boxes around, that kind of stuff. I don't know, but it was just kind of an because then you're thinking about, what's the valuation of the stock market, and most of it's leaning into the technology. So even
yeah,
though we have the economy, or people's 401ks look good, um, it's all kind of top heavy. So if there's any sort of, kind of like if you remember what happened in the 90s with the dot-com boom, like those companies weren't actually making any money. And people don't think about that because, hey, 401, I got a job, 401k is looking good. So this can kind of come from multiple angles, and it's all tied in, of course. I don't like to, I was telling you before, it's like I don't want this podcast to be like, hey, here's all the problems out there, watch out. We like to be
well,
solution oriented, but
well, you know what? I
you
mean,
know,
and I'll tell you, we track a lot of data here at Blue Water,
yeah.
and are we seeing an increase in our members' time to land? You would logically think if this was a doom and gloom story and all these companies are letting everybody go, and the time of year over the holidays and the ushering in and the peaking of AI technology,
Mhm.
and all these things, right, that are going on, you would think nominally if it took you 3 months to get a job, it's going to take you 10 months, right? I mean, that's just, nominally probably inherently what you would think if all these things were true. Well, we're not seeing that, right? You know, and maybe it's a lagging analytic, right? And we'll see it in months to come. But right now, for Blue Water members, from the time that you focus in on, hey, here's a good fit for me, and I'm going to pursue these companies or industries. And if you go from that point to I received a signed offer letter, it's 129 days. It's 4 months and 9 days. That's about what it takes our members to find their success, right? And some
So
members it makes sense. Some kind of look at it and go,
I,
I don't
I
know.
I
Yeah,
think the advantage that one, military retirees in general, of course, you're going to have that advantage going for
unique
you.
grouping
You use properly, right? There's certain companies that are looking for that, and so I think what this is for that audience, especially if they've gone through Blue Water and have the built-in network. Um, this just might help narrow down where you're searching, because the search is broad anyways. There's still companies hiring out there. Obviously, if a lot of people are looking at the defense industry, but it's not necessary. And then a lot of people don't end up looking for government work directly. It sounds like for the most part, over 90% of your members are more interested in not being or in the corporate world, or would rather be in the corporate world. So you probably don't see as much on that. But is there anything on this website you want to point out, like how people can use it to be
Well, I
useful, or is it just
think
an
a
article?
website like this helps members, um, and it's the first lesson of the day, right? It helps get in the right mindset. And so
Okay.
what do I mean by that? Like if you stepped in, Scott, you know, we have members that walk through the door and it'll just flat ask us, Mike, how long is it going to take me to get a job? And I'm going to go, well, you know, based on a sample size of 450 people that look just like you, it's going to take you 129 days. Well, Mike, I've already told the wife I'm going to work before Christmas. You know, I will be employed by then. You know, that's my goal. And I'm like, okay, right? Like, I'm like, are you talking to anybody? Nope, not yet. Hey, what companies or industries you looking at? Well, nope, no, nobody yet, but I'm going to narrow it down. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm not saying a job is not going to fall out of the sky and land in your lap. That does happen to about 1.5% of our members. But for the rest of the 98% of everybody else, right, getting a job is a full-time job, and it's going to take you on average 129 days. Now, you can go standard deviation either side of that. Some members will land longer, some a little bit quicker, but you know, an average, right? That's a pretty safe number. And we put that out there not to be predictive in nature, but when people walk through the door going, this is the headspace I want you in. You need to understand getting a job is a full-time job. You need to understand it's going to take you about 129 days, right? And that's not me just throwing that out. That's all these individuals who look like you who have jumped into the same process, and that's about what it takes them, right? So I think a website like this, to answer your question, is going to help refine that. For example, if you came to me and you said, Mike, it's my goal to go to Amazon. And I'm going, well, 14 to 30,000 layoffs in the coming, you know, couple of months, entering into the holiday peak season for a company like that. I'm going to go, okay, let's talk about your mindset. Yeah, 129 days is the average, but you know, based on these hurdles in front of you and what's going on in that industry and that specific company, I might be prepared that it's going to be a little bit longer than that, right? I mean, you may have to put your shoulder into this effort a little bit harder and longer to turn that vision of success into reality, right? And so I think websites like this are very helpful in just helping you get into the right mindset and understanding the challenges that are out there. Because left to our own devices, what typically happens? Well, Mike, something's wrong with me. No, you know, the wheel's not turning. It's just not turning quick. Well, listen, it's not turning quick because the company's laying off 30,000 people. It's not turning quick because it's Thanksgiving and the Christmas season and everybody's trying to take their paid time off before the end of the year. It's use or lose and they got to do it. It's not turning quick because whatever, new technology, the government's shut down, there's no bid work, whatever the reason is, it's just not turning quick. So it helps get in the headspace, which I don't want to lose sight of the big takeaway of our discussion here today, Scott. And that is, once you do land and find your success, the next day, I want you plugged back into your network. Step one is inform your network that you have landed. Step two is your door is open for business in case anybody else needs help. Step three is re-engage your network to see what you can do to make deposits into your network. You with me? I mean, never, ever stop. You were a former warfighter, just like I was, right? I never went in country and painted myself into a corner where I only had a decision of one option. If you ever planned for just one option, what inherently did we know would happen? You painted yourself into a corner, and the outcome of that was probably very much not good. And for our audience, right, our members who have lived a life like that, right, who have mitigated risk, who have, here's an old term for you, ORM, operational risk management, right? Never, ever, ever leave yourself with just one choice. That's horrible plan. That's horrible plan. It would never survive first contact. So as you step into the at-will work environment, why would you only leave yourself with one option? hey, I just found a job. I'm going to work for, you fill in the blank, whatever company you want to use as an example. And man, you know what? I am here for the next 30 years. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. Why would you plan to execute that one option? Of course not. Always have a plan B. Continue to network. Look at similar industries. Look at other companies. Build relationships out there, right? There's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
and so even, as part of the plan B, just using a tool like this could be something just to, keep in the, following
Absolutely.
news, just,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this company sounds interesting. Well, why don't I go try to meet somebody
You
there? Get
bet.
on LinkedIn,
You bet.
and
You
that
bet.
way, a little bit more,
Best time to
stay
find
up
a
to date.
job is when you have a job. Don't wait
Yeah.
until you don't have a job and go looking. That's a little painful. Always have a plan B, right? Always have a plan B.
Cool. Well, cool, Mike. Well, any
Yeah, I love
other?
talking about this stuff, Scott. You know that. You and I get going on this thing. We've
Yeah.
got so much to say about it, right?
Yeah.
Usually
What?
based on the experiences of our members, right? So,
Right. Well, yeah. I was just gonna say, any other, you know, stories or member issues or questions that came up in recent weeks with this shutdown and layoffs and stuff going on, you want to hit on
well, I'll
before
just
we go?
share for our Blue Water members, right? It's affecting us here. I mean, Blue Water, we are a small business. We have a number of engagements with large Navy organizations, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh, Throughout 2026. And they reinforced to us, Mike, we want you to come to San Diego, right? The Navy Leadership and Ethics Command out there, NOC TSD down in Orlando. Mike, we're planning on it. We want you to come. We want you to come. And I'm like, okay, well, we are not a big enough business where I could absorb the cost of hotel rooms and airfare for myself and two other instructors to go out to San Diego just on our right. We are reliant upon, if that organization wants us to come, we invoice them, they pay, and we go out and produce the work for that organization. But without that, right, it just we're kind of in limbo, and so it's having a real impact on us right here
Yeah.
at Blue Water. We want to get out to San Diego, but the government's closed. There is no funding. Nobody's committing to anything. Everything's kind of stopped. And I'm like, well, we can plan, we can be ready to go on short notice, but at some point in time, barring a sponsor or somebody willing to reach out to cover the costs of that, man, I just don't know how we get us out to big trips like this. And a big
Right.
trip for us is out to San Diego for 3 days, right? It doesn't sound big probably to many other people, but for us, it's huge as we spread the word out there and meet the needs of
Sure.
other of our members as we're growing out there. So, but we'll work through it. But, that's having an impact. And we do have probably now more than ever before, because of the government shutdown, a lot of organizations are tightening their belt and a
Mhm.
lot of members are being forced into other things much sooner than what they thought. And they come back to us, which we're appreciative. We appreciate their trust and confidence. But my first question to them is, please tell me you all your networking that worked for you 2 years ago as you landed here, you're still current in all that, right? Well, no, Mike, that's why I'm coming back to you. Hey, look, we can help with that, but make it easy on you and us. Don't let your network atrophy. You land, you get a job. It's now time to make deposits into your network. What can you do for people in your network? That's what you should be utilizing this time for. So we're here. We're going to make it work. Scott, that's what we do.
All right, man. No, that was great. Yeah, I'm gonna go finish unpacking from my trip.
I know you just got
Yeah, we
back,
can.
right? It's a busy time. So
Yeah, we had a straight shot yesterday. It was
dude,
probably
and you got back
quickest
late
night.
last night, and here you are, jumped on this morning, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Try my best. I was up early, but
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's
no,
awesome.
good. Well, no, glad we hit on these the
Yeah,
current events, so to speak. But the reality is, reinforcing a key message, and yeah, and actually, one thing I wanted to share what I was working on while I was out of town. Um, put together a bunch of videos that'll be launching our YouTube channel. I'm going to kind of reorganize all that,
Nice.
and get these podcast episodes, organized in a way where it's like, hey, if you want to look through the LinkedIn videos or the networking videos, you can kind of look through that. Even set it up in order, kind of like a course. Might be an easier way to go through it.
Well, last time you reorganized it, you did a really good job, Scott.
Yeah,
I mean,
the main hard part was going through and I'll be adding a lot more resources down in the description. So if you ever want to gather one of our books or the new calculator I've launched, there should be links down below.
Awesome.
I think already in this video I set that up. So
hey,
so just trying to make stuff more available.
Intelligence site in the notes in this episode.
Oh yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, that'll be good, right? It's an interesting site, and for members that haven't spent any time on it, it's a good lay of the land, right? Kind of, hey, what's going on in various different industries and companies? What challenges are they facing? As much as what we like to think when we step into, our career progression, that it's all about us, but we got to remember it's not really about us. It's about them, right?
Yeah.
And understanding what's going on in their world.
All right, man. Well, I will
catch you up, man. Thanks for making the time this morning. I know it was.
Any announcements you need to make?
Man, our end of the year cohort coming up Wednesday, December 3rd, right? That'll be the last one for the year. So, it's always kind of an awkward time of year. We end up doing 2 cohorts in the last 3 months of the quarter. But, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas. It's hard to space things out. So we squeeze 2 in instead of the 1 a month that we normally do throughout the year. But it's a nice flow, and then we'll have a networking event that we'll wrap up, in December, and then we'll get ready for 2026. Right? We're excited. I think that's going to be some exciting opportunity. Crazy to think the year's gone. Right? It's just amazing.
No, it is time's moving quickly these days.
It sure is.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, we appreciate it. And thanks for connecting. I really appreciate it. I know you had a long trip, but thanks for coming on this morning.
It's good. Nah, good. I needed to, like I was telling you, I need, being away. Yeah, it was a working trip, but it's hard to, I need to get back in the swing of things. So it's good to be back.
All right. Well, good seeing you. All right.
Take care.
Take care.